Hi, guys.
I always forget where the camera's actually pointing.
We are live. Talking about kids these days
Those darn kids.
and how they just don't understand.
They don't.
But actually, I get it.
They'll never understand.
I understand that they don't understand. I understand why they don't understand.
They'll never understand.
Mason in the morning.
8:44 now on Colorado's Cat Country 95.1. I'm Mason in the morning, and that guy over there is B-Rad.
Yo!
What's happening, man?
Oh, just wiping the crusties out my eyes, man. It's been a long morning.
Yeah, you had a late night trick-or-treating with the kiddos?
Yep.
Yeah.
I had a late night checking candies.
Yeah, make
Yeah.
sure there's no razor blades in there.
No razor blades.
Were there any?
No THC candies.
Yeah.
Nobody slipped my kids anything.
That's
They
wonderful.
shouldn't. Yeah, it was
That's
good.
wonderful
Yeah.
news.
Yeah, good
I
times.
like that.
Yeah.
Got to check on those things these days. Did you have any trick-or-treaters at your house?
We did.
You did?
Yeah, we did like a bucket thing though, because there was ice on our porch. I didn't want anybody to get slipped. So,
Okay.
and my family doesn't leave one person to pass out candy. We all go out trick or treating together. So
Yeah.
we just leave candy for people to come and get. When it's gone, it's gone.
So do you know how many you had, or you have no idea?
I know how many kids were on the street.
Yeah.
It's not a lot.
Not a lot. That's what I kept hearing everyone saying. Like, I had one trick-or-treater, Pat, out. Our
You know what? I
coworker,
feel like
Pat,
that
she
was
said she
a-
had one.
A lot of that, because now that I think about it, the people that we did go trick or treating at their house, they just handed out like giant handfuls of candy and
Yeah.
like massive size candy bars.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'd like that. I'd like the massive stuff. But yeah, no trick-or-treaters anywhere, it seemed like. I guess they all go to trunk or treats and things like that. They don't wander the streets like I did as a child.
Right.
A lot of things are different from when I was growing up, and that's actually what we're talking about today. There was a big thread online talking about what kids these days just don't understand. They'll never get
They
things
won't.
that we did in the past decades. And I think trick-or-treating is going to end up being one of those. It's not on the list today, but I think these things they're quite
Like
quite
the
interesting.
neighborhood trick or treating, right? I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
it's
something
going to
will
be
be-
a thing in the past.
People like used to wander the sidewalks,
your
going up to-
you wander the streets.
yeah,
How dare they?
going up to these different things. I mean, it's just kind of
What if a
crazy.
stranger took you?
So anyway, the things on the list are quite interesting. So like decades ago, we had no photos, right? Or almost no photos of anything. And kids are finding it really strange when you try to talk to them about like you back in high school. Where are your pictures?
Right, because you just have stories.
You don't have anything. Like maybe you had pictures from major events in your life.
Did
like
you ever have to
graduation.
sit through like a slideshow, somebody's slideshow of their vacation?
Yeah.
That's what people's folders are on Facebook now.
Yeah, that's what it is. And they have pictures of everything, right?
Everything.
My daughter probably took 70 pictures yesterday of stuff she did in school.
Things she ate.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when we say things like, no, I don't have pictures of that. You know, like if you won something big, big regional championship, there's probably no photos of that.
I can't
You
imagine somebody in school not being able to take a picture of what they had for lunch and post it. Like,
Yeah.
how would you have known what I ate?
Yeah. Interesting. So that's the number one thing the kids are not understanding, that we didn't have photos back then. Then we used to have to create our own fun without access to just about anything you want on digital media. Now it's hard to understand what you did when you didn't have it.
What do you mean?
That's what
Mason?
kids are saying.
What did you do before YouTube's?
Played outside,
You
played
played
inside.
outside?
played video games.
Did you
inside.
ever ride your bike to your friend's house?
Totally.
What?
Rode my bike. Played at the park.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Did
Did
you
a
get in
bunch of
trouble for sending your daughter on her bike to her friend's house?
Yeah. Interesting stuff. Yeah, we did. We got our daughter a bike. She rode it to her friend's house. Her friend's parents were like appalled that we let her ride her bike all the way unsupervised. She wouldn't let her daughter play with our daughter anymore because we let our daughter ride the bike. And it was like one neighborhood to the other. If you could move this house over, you could like see her house from our house.
Oh my!
And that's how far
goodness.
she rode her bike. And it was like we were terrible parents.
Unheard of. I used to ride my bike everywhere across major streets.
Yeah. And this was pretty good when you couldn't find the answer to something. there was a time when you couldn't find the answer to things.
You just had to believe what your parents said.
Yeah. Could you imagine living in a life like that? That's the way I grew up.
You never
I
get
remember-
fat checked by your kids, though.
I remember people arguing over sports statistics a lot when I was a kid. I'm a big
Ooh,
fitness
yeah.
sports fan, and my family would always get together and we'd talk about, who was the home run leader in 1954. They go like, I think it was this guy. It's like, no, it was this guy. It's 74, 73.
had to be Joe.
Oh no, it's this guy. There was always arguing. Who won the Super Bowl in 86, right? Is this?
And if you didn't have a set of encyclopedias from Joe Schmo selling them on the street, you didn't know anything.
And now sports facts, they're all there, every single one of them. In a matter of seconds, we could just look up something and, we'd know who was the RBI leader
Or
in
you didn't have an almanac?
1971. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, it's
wild
different,
to
right?
think. People
Kids
didn't have
these
cell
days.
phones. You couldn't get a hold of your spouse or. I remember as a kid, if I got in trouble at school, the only way that they got a hold of my parents is because my mom worked in an office building. My dad was a construction worker. You can't get a hold of him in the field.
And can you imagine not getting back to people immediately?
Oh my goodness.
That
Do
was the
not
way it
answer
was.
an email to me right away.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Now you got to answer your phone calls. You got to get back to people. You have to get the text message. As soon as you get it, you got to send it back, your emails. And there was a time not too long ago where you could just go through your day and you get home and then you check your email or you check your phone calls. And then you could maybe call somebody back, but you would never expect somebody to be like on it and get a hold of you in the next 10 minutes. And now that's absolutely what it is.
Stanley on Facebook commented, he said he used to walk 5 miles with his friends, just about 5 miles, and they'd just go around walking wherever.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that. You couldn't do that in today's society. Could you imagine? I have a 13-year-old.
People would think you're homeless.
Oh, people would think you're a terrible parent. I have a 13-year-old. Could you imagine if I let my 13-year-old walk a mile anywhere?
People would think you're a abusive father.
CPS would be banging on my door. What are you doing?
It's weird. And really, we have an obesity epidemic. Kids should be walking.
Everywhere.
Kids should be running.
Riding
Kids should be riding their
bikes.
bikes, skateboarding, doing all that stuff. And they're not anymore.
Just get outside.
Yeah. I know there's some that are. And I know there's some people will say that their kids do. And my kid does. I take my kid hiking and, biking, obviously, getting in trouble with the neighbors for biking without parental supervision. But I did. I biked everywhere, all by myself through my entire childhood. And I survived.
And he survived. I used to go to my friend's house and cross a major road because they lived on the other side of the street. And there's no stoplights. You just had to play real life Frogger and not get hit. Pay attention to what your parents taught you.
Yeah.
Look both ways. Cross the street when it was time. Like, what?
Yep,
Our
those-
parents weren't. We got told stay away from vans.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we got told. Our parents weren't worried and concerned about us getting picked up. And it's crazy to think that in a day with all this technology, we are more concerned about things like that than ever.
Yeah.
I'm about to AirTag my children.
It's too bad. It's too bad. I mean, it was one. I mean, and I feel like it's the same thing. Hey, man, stay away from the creepy van, right? That's the kidnappers. Don't take candy from a stranger. That kind of stuff that you
We
learned
just
as a
had our
kid.
kids take candy from all types of strangers last night, though.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just remember that family where I let my daughter ride her bike to her house around the corner and up the street. That's basically all she did.
Would you say that's the worst thing you've ever been accused of as a parent? Like,
I don't know. I mean,
terrible things because you let your child ride a bike?
there was another one that all these parents tried to make us feel bad because our kid didn't have a cell phone yet.
Right.
And I think she was in like 5th grade.
Whoa.
And they acted like,
Imagine a
You don't-
5th grader without a cell phone and being able to call people.
how are they going to
Who
get
do
a
you
hold
have
of
to
you?
call in 5th grade?
Who?
Like, who?
What if they need you? I'm like, well, for what? Number
If-
one.
If
But-
my 5th grader needs me, chances are they're around somebody with a cell phone that can get a hold of me.
But what did you do in 5th grade when you needed to get a hold of your parents? You found a phone, right? And now they're more readily available than ever. So-
And I had to memorize
What?
the numbers when I was in 5th grade. You didn't have a Scrolodex.
Yeah.
You just roll around and figure out the number that I need to call.
Yeah. And I heard a lot of kids don't even know their parents' numbers at all.
Oh, please.
right?
Please. I think when I was in elementary school, like that was a whole thing. You had your address you had to memorize. You had to memorize your home phone,
Yeah.
your mom's work number, your dad's work number. Again, I had it easy because my dad didn't have a work number.
Yep.
But you had to memorize all these things. What school you went to, all like what? And now these kids can't. I like if you ask my 13-year-old where his dad works, he couldn't tell you. I knew every company that my dad worked for.
Yeah.
You could like they just don't know. And it's nothing on him. It's just this day and age. They're just not informed because they have so many other things distracting them from what's going on in life.
Yeah. No, it's totally a different world. It's a world that I don't quite understand, and kids don't understand our old world. You didn't have a phone. You didn't have Google. You didn't have any of these things. It's just.
Did you ever make a wire can phone like with one of your friends from their window to your window?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pull it straight.
Right.
I remember we had it like loose and we're like, it doesn't work.
Pull it tight.
It doesn't work. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. I remember trying to do it with the string because I didn't really know how it worked. That doesn't work either. You got to have the wire and the paper clip inside to make it vibrate. And it's not like, Brad.
Sound like this.
You want to come over for dinner? Just vibrating.
Oh, that was the other thing, right?
Yeah.
My kids don't go to people like they don't. When I was growing up, I was at my friend's house or they were at my house. We were always playing. We were doing something. My kids, I'd call the minute I woke up, I'd have to be told you need to wait to call.
Yeah.
To go hang out with my friends. Now, like my kids don't go anywhere. They can I go upstairs and watch TV?
I watched this movie the other night. It was a Halloween movie, and this teenage girl was getting dropped off at her friend's house. Or no, she was going to pick up her friends so they could go somewhere together. And she got out of the car, walked halfway to the door, and then texted her. And he goes, her dad goes, why don't you just go knock on her door?
Right.
And she goes, oh my God, Dad, that's so rude.
What are you doing?
I would never do that. That's so rude.
Right.
To go knock on your friend's door, that's rude.
How dare you?
That's crazy that's rude.
How dare you?
And everybody,
I think it comes back to what we were talking about earlier, right? You were sitting there, we were talking about sleepovers. When I was a kid, we had activities at sleepovers. We were making forts, we were building Lego cars and smashing them like they were battle bots. We were playing up video games with everybody, but we were really interacting, and it's because we didn't have the technologies.
Yeah, my daughter had a sleepover. I still remember. We invited like 5 or 6 girls over. There was like, I rolled into the room, and there was 2 girls on the couch, like 3 girls on the floor, one of them on the recliner, all on their phones.
Talking to each other, probably. No doubt. They were probably all in a little group chat talking to each other. Oh my God, did you see what Jamie wore at school today?
It was completely silent. There was a movie on. None of them were watching the movie.
None.
They were just sitting on their phones like this. That was a sleepover. And I think that was probably 7th grade, something like that.
It's crazy to think.
They all had their phones, and none of them were talking with each other. None of them did anything the entire night. They laid in their sleeping bags on the floor and played on their phone. And they probably think it's weird that there was a time where people didn't do that.
Right.
And what would we do?
You physically spoke to each other?
You played?
My friends, I have younger friends, my nieces and nephews, my friends' kids, that I'll physically call and wish them happy birthday or whatnot.
Yeah.
Uncle, why did you call me? That's so 2000s. You could have sent me a text message or a snap or something. I don't even have Snapchat.
Yeah.
And they're getting mad at me for giving a phone call.
Yeah.
A phone call, Mason.
Yeah. Kids have a hard time, like even just inviting other kids to do stuff. They're like, what do I do? I'm like, ask them if they want to go. What do you mean? Like,
how?
Like how? Like call them,
like
ask if they can go.
Like
what
actually call?
What if they can't go? Then they can't go.
Bro, and that's the other thing. Kids think it's the end of the world, complete end of the world, meltdowns. If something doesn't go exactly, you're killing my vibe.
Killing my vibe.
What?
Yeah. Everything's fine. I wish kids would talk. I wish they'd put their phones down. But they think, why don't you have a phone? Why aren't you on it? They think we're weirdos who don't have cameras and don't take pictures of stuff.
You are a weirdo.
I am a weirdo.
Yeah. But that's beside the point.
Yeah. So anyway.
What do you think?
Just wondering about the
kids.
good old days. Seeing how kids don't understand, but I do get that they don't understand us. It makes sense to me. All these things that we were talking about are things that kids don't understand about just a few decades ago, 2 decades ago, 20 years.
You know, I was just thinking,
Crazy.
Matthew Perry passed away, and I was thinking about Friends for just at the beginning of Friends. That was like the pager beeper answering machine era.
Yeah.
And then at the end of Friends, they all cell phones and text messages and this, that, and the other. Like, you literally watched technology evolve.
Yeah.
Right there. And it's funny because there was an entire bit about trying to stop somebody from hearing a message.
Yeah.
Because they weren't home yet.
Yeah. And I remember one of them got a beeper,
Yes.
and I was like, "What are you, a drug dealer?"
Wasn't it Phoebe?
I
Wasn't it
remember.
Phoebe?
I don't remember, but I remember that was a big deal back when I was a kid. If you got a beeper, it was like you were like
had
this.
to be a drug dealer.
Yeah, you were a heathen. And it was like, no, that's just my mom. And I remember a bunch of kids had them, and it would be like, call mom, on their beeper,
Yeah.
and that would be it. What a weird era that was.
And then text
The
messages,
beeper
you had to hit the buttons on the phone multiple times to get to the letter that you wanted, right?
Yeah.
My cousin was so good at it, he could drive and he wouldn't even look at his phone, and he just knew how many times he had to hit the button.
No texting and driving.
This was in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
Yep. Crazy stuff, man.
Well, I guess you don't have to imagine. You were there.
Yeah.
I was there.
I didn't text much because it took forever.
It was
like,
forever.
I'm just going to
I'd call.
call.
Yeah. And then
Just
when
call 'em.
talk to text became a thing, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's the best thing to happen to me because I can't text.
Yeah.
I'm a terrible texter.
Well, that's it. But put it in the comments anything you think about. Reminisce on the good old days or the bad old days to the young kids. I don't know. Bye, guys.